This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Security guard gunned down by armed robbers in Portmore. Gunmen shot a security guard during a daring daylight robbery at the public sector cooperative credit union at Caribbean Estate in Portmore, St. Catherine on Tuesday. The deceased guard is reportedly employed to the Hawkeye Security Company. Another security guard, who is also employed by Hawkeye Security Company, has been hospitalized with a bullet wound to his right leg. The Corporate Communications Unit, the information arm of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, confirmed the robbery, but could not disclose whether the robbers absconded with cash. Sources told the news that the robbers reportedly stole the firearms of the two security guards. A large contingent of soldiers and police have been scouring the area in search of the robbers, who fled the scene of the robbery in a Nissan motor car, which reportedly crashed at the intersection of Salt Pond Road and the Spanish Town bypass. Two men shot dead at a bar in Bois Content St. Catherine. Police investigators are yet to identify a motive behind the shooting death of two men by gunmen in Bois Content, near Old Harbour in St. Catherine on Monday. The deceased have been identified as 40-year-old Mason Caron Bailey, otherwise known as Kreng Kreng, and 38-year-old Oral Lewis, otherwise known as Bally, both of Crawlpen in Bois Content. Reports are that sometime after 8 p.m., the men were at a bar along the Bois Content main road when a motorcar drove up. Armed men alighted from the vehicle and opened fire, hitting both men. The gunmen then made their escape from the scene in the waiting motorcar. The wounded men reportedly died at the scene. Investigations into the incident are ongoing. Vaccines gone missing at Cornwall Regional Hospital. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has confirmed that an investigation is underway into the circumstances in which a vial with 10 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines went missing from a vaccination site at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James on Monday. The vial was discovered to be missing after standard checks were carried out during the vaccination process, the ministry said in a news release late Tuesday. The ministry said the investigation involves the review of CCTV footage and the policies and procedures at the site. Several members of staff at the Western Regional Health Authority who were assigned to the vaccination site have been reassigned pending the outcome of the investigation, the health ministry said. Additionally, a review is taking place of the circumstances in which 6 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine were accidentally damaged at the Lucy Health Center in Hanover when a vial is believed to have fallen from the hand of a worker who was in the process of returning the vial to a cold storage container. The ministry is also following up on preliminary reports at a vaccination site in Westmoreland, where 8 doses fell and broke from a cold storage container that was on the table that collapsed. A built-in component of the COVID-19 vaccination implementation program is periodic audits, which are done in key areas of the program, including personnel process flow and usage of vaccines. Members of the public can expect to be informed of the findings on an ongoing basis once it has been completed and sent to the coordinating mechanisms built into the program. The ministry added that it wishes to extend appreciation to healthcare workers who continue to play a valiant role in the rollout of the national vaccination program and reiterated the importance of vigilance among stakeholders when participating in the vaccination process. On Monday, the island received its first batch of AstraZeneca vaccines through the COVAX facility with 14,400 doses. This added to the 50,000 vaccines received as a gift from India a week earlier. March 31 deadline set to register for next voters list. The deadline to register for the next voters list is Wednesday, March 31. The Electoral Office of Jamaica says the list is scheduled to be published on May 31. Persons intending to have their name added to the voters list must apply in person at any Electoral Office of Jamaica constituency office. Individuals who register after March 31 will have to wait to be added to the November 30, 2021 list. Electors who meet the March 31 deadline should expect to receive the newly designed voter identification card by mid-June. According to the EOJ, the registration process is simple and applicants are being asked to prepare to have their photograph and fingerprints taken. Following the application process, each applicant's residence must be verified to complete the registration process. Importantly, individuals who are already on the voters list should not reapply. The EOJ has also encouraged registered electors who have changed their address to visit the constituency office in the constituency where they currently live to apply for a transfer of registration. To be eligible for registration, applicants must be a Jamaican or Commonwealth citizen, ordinarily resident in Jamaica for at least 12 continuous months prior to registration, and must be at least 18 years of age. Retired soldier fights off rapist. An alleged robber, who is also believed to be a rapist, was left nursing a stab wound after a retired United States Army veteran fought him off during an early morning invasion of her home in Portland on Monday. According to police report, the retired soldier was awakened by a man sitting on top of her with a knife placed at her throat inside her Sandsand home at about 12:53 a.m. The woman reportedly screamed, but the intruder pulled her to the ground while demanding money and other valuables. Police sources said that the intruder was handed a $100 Jamaican note and $2 US. He then attempted to rape her, but a struggle ensued and she managed to disarm the robber, said Superintendent Dwayne Wellington, commanding officer of the Portland Police Division. According to Wellington, the burglar was stabbed but managed to flee the house, after which an alarm was raised by the woman, who was later assisted by a security guard. The burglar escaped with a suitcase containing several items belonging to the woman. A man fitting the exact description also attempted to carry out a similar robbery at Tropical Lagoon Resort, but it was foiled. We are carrying out investigations into both incidents. We continue to urge residents to be vigilant and to report any suspicious activity that they might see, Wellington added. 6-month search for missing sketch artists. It has now been 6 months since the mysterious disappearance of popular Montego Bay, St. James sketch artist Mark "Sketchy" Fletcher. His family members and friends are still hopeful that he will be found alive. The 48-year-old sketch artist was last seen on October 16, 2020. He is widely known throughout Montego Bay, where he earns from his talent by doing sketches for locals and tourists along the Jimmy Cliff Boulevard. Stephen Fletcher, a brother of the missing man, told the news that Sketchy spent some time at his house before he went missing. "The last time I saw my brother was in October of last year, when I told him to come and spend some time at my house, which he did, but on the morning of October 16, he left as usual to do his drawings for money as he normally does, but he never returned that afternoon," Stephen said. "At first, I was not concerned because it is a usual habit for him to stay in Montego Bay before coming back home, but as days passed and it moved over into a week and then 2 weeks, I got concerned and made a report to the police," Stephen said. "I even went in search of him all over Montego Bay, but up to today, no one has seen or heard from him." Persons with whom the news spoke said that they saw Sketchy just before the city was drenched by flood rains last October. A gifted artist, Sketchy taught at several institutions across Jamaica, including Knox College, Homewood Technical, and Albertown High School. Man pleads guilty to murder of ex-girlfriend. Jermaine Miller, who is accused of the stabbing death of his ex-girlfriend Nevia Sinclair, 27, at her family home in Brinkley, St. Elizabeth last year, is to be sentenced on March 25 after he pleaded guilty to her murder yesterday. Miller also pleaded guilty to the charge of burglary when he appeared before the High Court Judge Justice Yvonne Brown in the St. Elizabeth Circuit Court in relation to the January 12, 2020 incident. His attorney, Queen's Counsel Peter Champagny, told the news yesterday that his client's guilty plea is a step in the right direction. Whenever an accused of his own volition and by the dictates of conscience pleads guilty to a crime, it is always, in my view, a step in the right direction and indeed the honorable thing to do in the circumstances. Sadly, domestic violence remains a challenge in our society, said Champagny. Sinclair had moved out of her boyfriend's home and returned to live with her parents because of an alleged abusive relationship. She was stabbed to death in her bedroom as her family slept at about 10:50 p.m. on January 12, 2020. The intruder had pushed aside a mosquito netting and climbed through an unlocked window to enter her bedroom. Miller was allegedly seen fleeing the scene immediately after Sinclair's parents saw her bleeding on the floor. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.